Hi guys. Firstly, I want to apologize. Before I even say anything, I want to apologize that I haven't been posting consistently. It sucks when your channel is dependent on other people, on interviewing people. Now I actually can't meet up with people. Like I never thought it possible. However, guys, I have been doing a lot of planning, so I'm going to be doing different things on my channel. In crisis, there's always opportunity, and that's what I learned. I guess this is the opportunity in the crisis that I'm currently facing with my channel. So, guys, the book that I'm going to be reviewing is called The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, and it is by Robin Sharma. The author is very popular, and he's all about well-being and improving yourself, and this book has quite a lot to do with that, and I think it's an amazing book. So I want to open with this quote that really stuck out for me. I have to read it perfectly because I'm quoting someone. It says, most people live, whether physically, intellectually, or morally, in a very restricted circle of their potential being. We all have reservoirs of life to draw upon, of which we do not dream. So it's by William James. So basically, this quote is saying that we live within what we see and what we know, which I think is normal. However, he's also saying that there's endless possibilities, there's endless ways to live, there's lots of everything, lots of everything, guys, like lots of love, lots of money, lots of beauty, lots of lots of everything. And so if we live as if there's lots to live from, we inevitably draw a lot. I don't know if I'm explaining myself properly. So that's the quote that I really really love. The the storyline is basically about a lawyer, Julian Mantle, who's amazing. He's successful. He's wealthy. He has everything he could ever dream of. Well, material things, physical things. He has a Ferrari as well. So I think you can see where the story is going. But anyway, he has a Ferrari as well. So one day he's in court and he faints. And when he gets to the hospital, it said that it was a heart attack. And Julian Mantle decides he's going to sell everything, and he sells his Ferrari. Surprise, surprise. So he sells his Ferrari and all his worldly possessions, and he sets off on a journey to the Himalayas. I hope I'm saying it right. The Himalayas, guys. So basically, there he walks and 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 he walks, and he just can't find anything. And he walks, he continues to walk and he continues to walk, and then he bumps into a man robed in red, and that man is a monk. And and then he takes him to where him and the other monks live, and they're called the sages of Savannah, I think. Yeah, they're called the sages of Savannah, and that's where Julian Mantle learns all these things that I'm going to share with you guys. He learns 7 virtues of life that he is taught by monks. The sages of Savannah up in the Himalayas put together their 7 virtues to enrich the mind, cultivate the body, and nourish the soul into a fable. And this fable is quite weird, so that it's easy for you to remember. However, I'm going to read the fable to you guys. I don't want to paraphrase, so that you guys get as much as I got from the book. So I'm going to read it to you guys. You are sitting in the middle of a magnificent, lush, green garden. This garden is filled with the most spectacular flowers you have ever seen. The environment is supremely tranquil and silent. Savor the sensual delights of this garden and feel as if you have all the time in the world to enjoy this natural oasis. As you look around, you see that at the center of this magical garden stands a towering red lighthouse, 6 stories high. Suddenly, the silence of the garden is disturbed by a loud creaking as the door at the base of the lighthouse opens. Out stumbles a Japanese sumo wrestler who casually wanders into the center of the garden. He is 9 foot tall, 900 pounds. As the sumo wrestler starts to move around in the garden, he finds a shiny gold stopwatch, which someone had left behind many years earlier. He slips it on and falls to the ground with an enormous thud. The sumo wrestler is rendered unconscious and lies there, silent and still. Just when you think he has taken his last breath, the wrestler awakens, perhaps stirred by the fragrance of some fresh yellow roses blooming nearby. Energized, the wrestler jumps swiftly to his feet and intuitively looks to his left. He is startled at what he sees. Through the bushes at the very edge of the garden, he observes a long winding path covered by millions of sparkling diamonds. Something seems to instruct the wrestler to take the path, and to his credit, he does. The path leads him down the road of everlasting joy and eternal bliss. I think the fable has such a beautiful ending. And the fable sounds a little bit weird, I know, trust me. However, when you get to find out what each of the items in the fable represent, you get to understand why it's so weird, because the author wants you to remember. Okay, so remember how the fable started with you're sitting in a lush green garden. That garden represents your mind, and what the author's trying to say is that your mind is that place that should feel like peace all the time. I know it doesn't, believe me, I know it doesn't. However, the author's trying to encourage you to treat it as a place that should be your peace at all times. The author says that the author further explains that your mind, like, you're supposed to clean it, treat it well, water it, nourish it. He also includes a point that as human beings we have over 60,000 thoughts a day, and the next day 95% of those thoughts are exactly the same, which is crazy. I actually cannot believe it. I've never tried to count my thoughts. However, I understand what that could possibly mean. The author basically says the garden represents your mind. Clean it, water it, nourish it. It's where your thoughts come from. It's the place that you go to figure out what your next step should be. So I think that should be the place that you take care of the most. The next thing in the fable was the 6 foot tall lighthouse, and the lighthouse in this fable represents purpose. The author says the purpose of life is a life of purpose. And I say in my intro in Conversations with Angie is that Conversations with Angie is a journey to purpose through healing, laughing, loving, and learning. I believe so much in purpose, and I don't know if I read or I heard or I was watching Oprah, and she said finding your purpose and going about the business of doing it is basically what life is about. And I think I couldn't agree more, because purpose is that one thing that makes you fulfilled. It makes you feel like your life has meaning, and it feeds your soul. It truly nourishes your soul. The third thing was the 9 foot tall, 900-pound Japanese sumo wrestler. And this sumo wrestler represents Kaizen. Kaizen, I'm going to read you guys the proper definition. So Kaizen is a Japanese business philosophy of continuous improvement of working practices and personal efficiency. The idea behind the author using Kaizen is to say that life is about basically how you get to success in life is by constantly improving things that work and constantly improving yourself as a person. And I think this is one of the most important points, because I believe so much in self-improvement and becoming better than you were yesterday. I think it opens you up to more of life's opportunities and more of life's gifts. wire cable that was wrapped around the Japanese. I'm sorry guys, I just imagine it in my head. The pink wire cable represents discipline, and the book talks about how discipline is basically the result of small acts of courage and small acts of doing what you have to do. Discipline is very important, especially in time, because discipline is very important, especially because you're not always going to be motivated. You're not always going to have someone to push you. The Japanese sumo wrestler picked up a stopwatch. The stopwatch represents time and respecting time. And I think what I like in the fable is that the author says the Japanese sumo wrestler picked up a stopwatch which someone had left many years ago. Time has been there since the beginning of time. Time has been there since the beginning of time, and it will be there forever. Why I like the idea is because time was left to us by those who came before us. You know what I mean? So I think I like the idea. The author basically says you need to respect your time. You need to treat your time as precious as it is, because time is honestly extremely precious. It's the one thing I think you can never regain. The roses in the fable represents selflessly serving others. I think I heard once that the most selfish thing that you can do is to help someone else, because it comes with a certain gratification that you personally feel. I wouldn't call it selfish, however, I understand what the idea behind saying that was. I truly think that selflessly giving to others not only that it doesn't only make the world a better place, but it's sort of an idea of paying it forward, because if you do good for someone or to someone, they will also do good to someone else or for someone else. So it's this idea of constantly making the world a better place through small actions. So I think selflessly giving to others is one of the most important things to me as well, because it makes me feel like the world is slowly but surely becoming a much, much better place. The last part of the fable was when the Japanese sumo wrestler looked to his left and saw a sparkling, winding pot of diamonds. Yeah, so the diamonds represent embracing the present. So basically, what the author's trying to say is that embracing the present will give you fulfillment and happiness constantly. I think embracing the present is very important, once because we cannot relive a moment no matter how hard we try. Everything that we've learned up until a moment is reflected in the moment that we live in, we're currently in. Do you understand what I'm saying? So everything that I've learned up until now is relevant to this moment. However, it won't be as relevant to the next moment. So I think it's very important to live in the moment, because you can never, ever, ever relive a moment. And moments are so beautiful. Living in the now also allows you to see everything for how beautiful it truly is, or how crazy it really is, and or how bright it really is. So being present in every moment allows you to see the reality of what something really is. And I think that's so beautiful, because if you miss it, you can never actually relive it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will post my next book review. I really hope you guys read the book. It's taught me so much, and I hope it will teach you guys even more than it taught me. I hope you guys will realize even more than I realized, and I hope you guys do share it with me if there's more that you realized.